lights in front, Ramagiri. I think I need those lights on over there, if you don't mind, please. I mean, I don't mind, but it's completely dark. I think, yeah, that does it great. I suppose let's just turn this volume off for a minute and let it play. I think I might have to close this window. Let's see. Namaste, Phyllis.
Namaste. I have to leave early, is that right?
Of course. You just go ahead and leave early. At least there's two bodies here in the room. Lots of people have in the room today, so. It's nice to have two bodies to look at. Is there Gita class now? Yes, there's Gita.
But are we really bodies?
Am I my body? That's the question. Oh, Ramagiri, I'm sorry. Can you do me one more favor and pass over that microphone? Yes.
Okay, I'm going to body here and then go. I'll be back for it later.
You'll be back for your body? Yeah. Okay, you just take a nap. You just take a nap and namaste. I know you can't I don't know if you can hear me actually. I have no clue. Let's see. It's also select microphone. For some reason it's not coming up. Ramagiri. There it is, blue snowball. You are all getting to see what goes on behind the scenes before every one of Swaminiji's classes now. Namaste to all. It's a wonderful sunny day here, so I think we have... you can hear? No audio, yeah? It's okay now? No, yes. Yes, you can hear me, I think. All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. Namaste, everybody. Let's see, we have people from all over the place today, including Eugene. Online, that is. There's some people from Eugene here as well, so that's wonderful. So how's everybody doing? I hope everybody's holding up. And how was the chanting class yesterday? I walked in and I heard some people chanting, and I heard one person online. I don't know who that was, but Swaminiji Adobe Classroom Dim one person. That was amazing. Very good. Very impressive. Good. Jayaji, okay, was chanting, okay, yes. And tonight we have Vedanta class with Swaminiji, so super blessed. And if the weather is like it is here in Eugene, I can understand why people are not here today. So I think it got up to 70 degrees. Namaste, Yukiko. How's Japan? I think it's very early in the morning in Japan right now, so. And Gay, everything is good with you where you're at? Sunny, beautiful day at 6:30 in the morning in Japan, huh? Wow. Had some books. Here we go. I had some books. Beautiful in Canada. All right. Whereabouts in Canada are you, Gay? I'm sorry, I'm not remembering. I'm not recalling where in Canada you are, Gay. Must be on the west coast, because the west coast is seems very sunny up and down. I just looked on the temperature gauge, and it said 71 degrees on the back there. If you're in the sunshine.
Have you been out 72?
Yeah, it was Edmonton, Alberta. Okay, so nice and sunny there. So we managed to just have a clear day across the North American continent here. Okay, well, good to see you all, and it's nice that you're all prioritizing Vedanta over sunshine right now, okay? Sunshine, after all, we don't want to say finite, but really at the end of the day, finite, okay? At the end of every day, finite. Unless it's you're up at the pole in the middle of summer, then maybe not finite at the end of every day.
What do you think about it moving around the world?
There we go. Not finite, but for us, for the as though individual jiva. 72 in California. We're nearly with you, Nirmala. I don't know that that's good or bad, actually, but we'll say it's nothing. It just is, okay? Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Punaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, so we were going to see if we could find our way out of this wonderful mess, confusion that we're swimming around in with our Arjuna, who's sitting in the bottom of the chariot. Whether the sun was shining or not, we don't know, but it didn't matter. He wasn't noticing anything. It was just not a good time for our Arjuna. So we had to ask, who is the one who's being sad? And so far we've dismissed the body. We've said, no, definitely not the body. The body is not being sad. Is it the prana? Or any of those pranic, to go with our Vedic and our Vedantic? Is it any of the pranic functions? No, it's not any of the pranic functions. So quickly, do we know what the functions of the pranas are? We do this every morning. Any of you who do regular puja will know this. We feed to the 5 pranas every morning. Does anybody remember? Prana. Apana. What's apana? It's the downward force, evacuation, yes. And then samana, yes, Katrin, that comes last. And then next one. Prana, apana, Vyana, good. Vyana, what's Vyana do? Just hanging out.
The diffuse force.
The circulation, yeah, so we say the circulation of the blood, right? And then what's the next one? Udhana, yes. And what does that do? That one comes, we can say, if I say, yeah, it's come, or it's going. If I give you the clue, it's going.
That's the cannon fire.
The cannon fire. Is that something like last? What do they call that thing? Last right. What do they call it when they blow the bugles for those ones who've been in the military? What's that last? Taps. Yeah, taps. Is that the one they do at the funeral thing? Yeah. Okay, the final thing. Yeah. So udhana, out. Also, not a nice subject, but it's a sunny day, so we can all, we can take refuge in the sun after this. Okay. So also thought of as vomiting, so coming up and out. And then the last one, samana. What's the samana? digestion, okay? So the 5 pranas, we've decided we're none of those, okay? Thank goodness for that. What a lot of work that would be if we were the 5 pranas. And thank goodness Bhagavan is taking care of all that, and just, that happens without any, the brain being involved in that, so to speak, okay? So then, what else did we dismiss? One that we had to dismiss several times. The emotions. We didn't really have to dismiss it several times. We only have to dismiss it once, but it's one of the ones that's very sticky, where I get very identified with the emotions. And then the next one, the karta, right? The doer. I'm the one yesterday who did such and such and such and such, or I'm the one who's going to tomorrow do this, that, and the other. And the karta gets associated with what Swamini Ji always tells us. This is guilty, right? This is Ms. or Mr. Guilty, all right? The karta, the doer. Oh my gosh, I should never have done that. I shouldn't have done that. Or if only I had done that better. Or, oh, I wish I could be doing that. And then the last one, of course, is who? If we've got guilty, who's the other one? Hurty. Hurty, also known as who? The victim. Yeah, that's definitely one way. Hurty. Yeah, not exactly the mind, Sujata, but because it is the mind. It's all tricks of the mind. But we're referring to those places where the identification actually gets hung up. So the doer, and then the victim, the hurty, also known as the bhokta, the one who experiences. Some people translate this bhokta as the enjoyer, but as our Swamiji and Swamini Ji point out quite regularly to us, so therefore we remember these things, that it's not that I actually enjoy every experience. I don't think we meet too many people who just say yes to everything and who are enjoying every experience. And we could just look at the American political field right now, and that was exactly what I was expecting. There were some eyes rolled in the room, okay? So not every experience is enjoyable. So that word bhokta, we translate that more as the one who experiences, okay? So we dismissed the sad. So the sad person is none of these, okay? And what does Krishna say about us? Bhagavan Krishna in the Gita, he says, actually, you know what? Your nature is the opposite of sad. So what would the opposite of sad be? Happy, yes. And it's quite interesting. You think about the 7 dwarfs. Now, I haven't actually sat down and thought this all the way through, okay? But we have to remember the 7 dwarfs now. We're talking about Snow White, so if any of you are familiar with that. But we have, there was Happy, right? And I think there was a grumpy, not a saddie. No, but there was a grumpy, not a saddie, but there was a grumpy. Who were the other ones? Is anybody? There was a...
Dopey, bashful. Oh,
dopey, bashful, grumpy, happy, doc. We need one more. Anybody else? I was trying to see if they could match up with the pranas, but I guess it's not really working so well. But anyway, there's 7 dwarfs. I did remember that there was a happy dwarf and a sneezy. Yes, sneezy was the last one. Okay, so those seven dwarfs do actually represent all sorts of areas where we do, sneezy. That's kind of the body, and also the prana functions, right? The pranic functions. Okay, because one identifies with this sickness, and I'm the one with the cold and the headache and the fever and all of this. So anyway, we'll leave the 7 dwarfs alone now, okay? They have to go to work. Hey ho, off they go, okay? They're going off to work now. So what Krishna says is that our nature actually is of happiness. It's not one of sadness. And how do we know this? Because really, when you call up your friends and when you talk to your family, what's the first things you check out? How are you doing? How are you feeling? How have you been? And everybody's only too happy to share a long litany of, well, I had to go to the doctor's last week, and the toenail on my little toe, it was giving me such grief, but the doctor helped me out and said that perhaps once in a while if I clipped the toenail it might be helpful, and then anyway, we won't go too much, not nice example, but so we talk about all of these things that are the saddy bits. And why do we talk about it? It's the body, attachment to the body, but there's another reason too, mentally, because I feel better. I feel better. If I hear that somebody else is not doing so well, I feel better about there's always somebody worse off than me, So this is one reason. It's not the only reason, and it's not all the time, but this is one of the reasons that we tend to do that. Also, because it can be kind of like something different, especially if there's a big thing, you hear about somebody who gets diagnosed with something that is not very, it's a big deal, and it means they're going to have to go through a lot of treatment, and so it's like, this. So it's something that you can grasp onto, that morbid interest, if you like, comes up. And the other reason, of course, that we do that is if I were to, if everybody was to go around and everybody said, how are you doing today? Oh, I'm doing absolutely wonderful. And this happened all of the time. Who's going to give you any attention? And this is especially true with kids, right? What do the kids say? Well, they wake up in the morning. How are you feeling, sweetheart? Oh, Mummy, I've got such a tummy ache. Oh, I've got such a tummy ache. And then immediately attention comes, whereas, oh, I'm great, Mum. Mum turns back, gets on with making breakfast, does all the rest of it. So, it's an attention-getting thing, this talking about things that are sad-producing, okay? So this is our focus, but Krishna is convincing us, no, you are actually sad. And do any of us enjoy being sad? That's the question. That is the big question. So what can one enjoy being sad? We'll answer that as we go along, okay? But do I want to be sad? Do we congratulate each other on sadness? Oh, you got fired from your job today. Excellent, wonderful. You must be feeling so bad about that. That is absolute. Oh, I wish that could happen to me. Could you share some of your tips? How did you get fired from your job? So no, this is a conversation that I haven't heard, at least. Maybe if it was just a really, really bad job and the boss was not somebody who you enjoyed being around. But no, we don't want to be sad. That's not what we want. We want to be happy. So what is the happiness? What is it? What, at the end of the day, how do we think of happiness? And one of the first things that comes to mind is, oh, it's sunny, just because today the sun is shining, okay, in Eugene, in a big way, bright blue sky, no clouds, daffodils are out, all the blossoms are coming out, allergies are not yet heightened enough that the sunshine and all the blossoms and flowers can, have the opposite effect. So is it the sunny day is that the reason for being happy? Is it a sunny day? And oh yes, wow, sunshine. Don't have to put on the rain jacket, don't have to put on the thick socks, don't have to put on the thick coat. Is that the cause for my happiness? Everybody's looking like, no, is that the cause for my happiness? That's one of the things that we equate with happiness.
It's the ostensible cause.
There was a very Yeah, you have no problems. That's right, Sujata. Someone's being very practical here. An ostensible cause of happiness would be the weather. So actually, but environment. Sometimes our environment, and we think that we're happy because of our environment. Oh, I just got the house that I really wanted to be in. Or as happens here sometimes, there is one like living room kind of chair here at the ashram, and everything else is a what do you call those things? Folding chairs, floors, and backjacks, right? Backjacks. And so those are the seating. And one time we did, a little while back actually, probably a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago, we did a survey and asked people what would help them feel more comfortable coming to the ashram and spending time here and having classes. And we put on there seating. One of the things was seating. And we're very surprised to see that seating actually played a big part in people feeling comfortable, and so it really, at the time, we had a big long couch. There's the rest of the story is coming out now. So there was a big long couch which could seat four people in a friendly fashion. 5 people if they were really small, but 3 people on it. But we took that away because we found that we could fit more folding chairs, and also people got very, very comfortable on this couch. It was very easy to fall asleep. And as if Vedanta classes don't induce sleep enough, having a couch there, it helped the sleep be a comfortable sleep. So this whole thing about comfort, the physical comfort, that's another reason we associate with happiness. So the environment, physical comfort, these things, oh yes, these bring me happiness. And then the company that we're in, who we're with. There's some people who, our Ragadaveshas match up with, and we say, oh yes, this is great, this is really fun. So all of these things we think bring us happiness. But then we can put a little twist on that, okay? So the Princess and the Pea comes to mind, right? The Princess and the Pea, there's this, if any of you don't know the story, I don't remember the whole story, of course, just like I didn't remember all the 7 dwarfs, but the Princess and the Pea, there is some princess, and I think they're trying to prove, and anybody who knows this story, they're trying to prove she's a real princess. And so they put 14 mattresses or something, and underneath the 13th mattress, between the 13th and 14th, they put 1 pea. I'm assuming this is not a fresh cooked green pea. I'm assuming that this was, one of those dried peas. And the princess went to bed, everything so comfortable, nice sheets. She had a nice canopy over her bed, like a fairy tale princess. And I think it was a fairy tale princess. And she tossed and turned all night in this because of this 1 pea under the bed, under the 13th mattress. And in the same way, and so she was miserable, very miserable, because couldn't sleep and just couldn't get comfortable. And the same way, somebody who's sleeping, in Eugene we have a lot of homeless people, and so you see people sleeping under underpasses. You see people sleeping they're trying to arrange now little villages that they live in, but they're in these they look like little miniature greenhouses. And but the plastic is not, it's like a little plastic greenhouse, but the plastic you can't see through. And just a tarpaulin on the ground, and then they have a sleeping bag, maybe if they're lucky, on top of that. And so that person might toss and turn too. So it's not really the environment. We can rule out environment and say, no, it's not the environment that really is bringing this happiness about. It may be something that we can look at and say, oh, well, it's easier for my Ragadaveshas to be happy if everything in the environment is, kind of how I, associated with the body-mind-sense complex, want it to be. But it's definitely not what brings happiness. So another common place where we get mixed up is, well, all my desires I have, all those desires, I want this, I want that. And then when I get that, when I get when I get to join up with that thing that I wanted, then yes, all of a sudden, so happy, everything happy. But how long does that happiness last? And there's a lovely story about, this is one we used to tell at the ashram in India quite a bit, about a family who, there was one man who was quite wealthy and had a couple of homes, and his friend fell upon some bad times. And so what did he do? He said to his friend, look, I have this extra home, you and your family, you just move in there and you can stay there for as long as you need. He was so happy. It was a little house, and it had 3 rooms in it. It had a kitchen, it had a bathroom, and it had like a big living area, and he had a couple of children. They moved into the house, and they lived in that house happily for a couple of years, and he was able to find a job, and everything was going just really nicely. And one day his friend, whose house it was, who'd said he could live there, called him up and he said, you know, I've been thinking about this. And the man who had been staying in the house said, oh no, here it comes. He's going to tell me I have to leave. Oh my goodness, I'm so, what are we going to do? The job isn't bringing in enough money for me to find another place to live. We've all got really comfortable here. Oh, what are we going to do? And it was completely the opposite. The man turned around and said, I want to make a gift to you of this house. You've all been so happy there. I'm seeing what an effect it has. I just want to gift this house to you. Would you meet me down at the attorney's office and we'll sign the paperwork over? He's ecstatic, absolutely ecstatic. Oh, wow, really? Wow, this house is going to be mine? Oh, yes, this is wonderful. So off he goes, signs all the paperwork, and he walks back up to the house for the first time he walks back to the house and he looks and he says, wow, this is my house. The story is told for several different reasons, as you're probably all guessing. My house, oh, wonderful. So he's got the object of his desire, a place to live, not only a place to live, now there's no fear that it's going to go away from him for as long as he keeps his job. But his friend isn't going to change his mind and suddenly take it away. This is my house now. He feels like, yes, this is mine to keep. We can do what we want with it. And so he goes inside, he brings his wife out and he says, come look, this is now our house. And they stand there and they're just absolutely happy. Next day he goes off to work, comes back from the office and looks, was walking up to the house, and he looks at the door as he's walking up the path and he sees a crack. There's some sort of crack above the door. Now the crack has been there ever since they moved into the house. But now he starts worrying. Oh my gosh, this crack. What are we going to have to do? How am I going to afford to do? So you can see, even though that happiness was like, first of all, he had a place to live, then that place became his. That happiness it's not something that's going to be infinite, okay? So happiness doesn't depend on getting the object. It doesn't depend on the environment. It doesn't even really depend on who we are spending time with. And who's the one that we least are likely to enjoy spending time with? Yes, that one that we think of as the self. And who's that one we think of as the self? The mind. Yes, the body-mind. Oh, the body's doing this. Oh, the mind. Oh, if only I hadn't done this. Is this all sounding familiar? We started with this. Oh, I shouldn't have done this. Guilty, hurty. So that is the one that we least want to spend time with most. So what do we have to look at in order to find this happiness. And what we see is that if I could accept this self, which self? Which self? Which self do I have to accept?
The one you're stuck with. Robbed it.
If I could actually, if we say, if I knew the truth of myself, then it would be, then everything is okay. It's all within the order. Yeah, one self, Nirmala, that's right. The complaining self, yes. We can say the complaining self too. It's acceptance of what manifests, of what it is, how this so-called I is expressing itself, okay? So that's what it is that we're going to be looking at, and that's why we're doing this vichara. So, and of course we all know that I can't ask you, we talked about this the other day, it's not like I can sit here and say, could you just be happy? You know, right now it's going to be quite easy, it's nice and sunny, and it's, you know, everybody's fairly comfortable, so yeah, okay, I can comply and be happy, but I don't think that was because Janani was asking me right now to be happy. So how does this I express itself? And we have to look at what this I is. Which I am I talking about right now? How does this I that is upholding all of this, how does it express here at this, in this level of reality? What level of reality? Wait a minute, you haven't mentioned any levels of reality. Now, wait a minute. I was following along quite happily, but then you started talking about levels of reality. So we have to start in Vedanta, we have to start where we're all at. And where we're at is that there's this body-mind-sense complex. Yes, I can see that we can start negating that. Yeah, but I'm not convinced that I have a real grip on negating all of that right now. And so I'm a little curious as to how we're going to actually get the mind to really take that on board and come to know that. And so when you start talking about levels of reality, I'm thinking that there must be something in here that I might need to understand a little bit further. So the I that is upholding all of this, that is Atma, that I we can talk about as being from one standpoint. And which standpoint is that? Sat, okay? That is what is. And then everything else, when I'm talking about the body, the mind, the senses, the guilties, the hurties, the hungries, the thirsties, all of these, those are the ones that are dependent upon this Atma. So at the level of the ones that are at the level of that which is the guilty, hurty, all of this, that I is being upheld by the I that is Atma. So the Atma is as though given these, we're going to put some heavy quotation marks, powers, okay? What are those powers? Action. It appears that Atma can act. It appears that Atma knows, okay? And this is all as though. Why is it as though? There's no duality, right? There's only one thing here. So we can only say this when we're talking about this as though division. It's all, we're moving into the as thoughs, okay? Everything's going to be as though today. Swamini Ji sometimes says, she gives you like a catchphrase for the class, and she said, every question today you're going to answer with this. This is the answer, okay? So today is the as though class, all right? So it is the as though I, okay, as though I is as though expressing itself. And what is all this expression come about? why does all this sort of expression, this action, all of these actions coming about, all this like, I'm the knower, I'm this one, why does that all come about? This one, it's not as though, okay? it's based on our raga dveshas. What are our ragas and dveshas? Our desires and our not desires. Our non-desires. Our dislikes is another way of putting that. So it's a desire. And what's the desire? The one driving desire? We think that there's many desires. Oh, I want to go outside and play. Or, oh, depending on where you're at in the world right now, I want to go to sleep. All of these desires we have for various things. But through and in them all, under every desire, we think that whatever we are going to do is going to bring about a level of happiness. And this is actually a question Pujya Swamiji put to us. See if you can think of a 12-hour block of time where you had no desire, and it needs to be in the waking state, okay? Not in sleeping, but in the waking state. Can you think of a 12-hour block of time when you were conscious, not in a vegetative state, not under the influence of some sort of, you had some, you've been anesthetized, that's the word. So you were just, literally in the waking state, and can you think of a 12-hour block of time when there was no desires? Very difficult thing, it was a challenge. Yeah, tough. Yes, very tough. I agree with you. Very tough. So that drive because we think we're going to be happy, that desire is an underlying force to bring, as though to bring happiness to the I that is mistaken. Okay, so I'm not going to act. If I'm completely fine as I am, then I'm not going to act. You're not going to do anything. If you are just absolutely fine being who you are, you're not going to act. There's no reason to do it. And if you think about the meditations that Swamini does, I think the next meditation is when? At the end of this week? I think it's taking it day by day. We're just going day by day. There's a good way to go with all of this. Tomorrow, thank you, Nirmala. Yeah, we haven't. We do it day by day here. We're impressed if we can get the equipment working for each different class that comes up. So in the meditations, Swamini will often say, I don't think we've done it in the series that we're in now, but will often say, if you are comfortable being yourself, just simply being yourself, acknowledge that. And this is a way you can see in that meditation, because it will come. And so when that is said, what does that mean to be oneself? What is the truth of your nature? What is it that Krishna says is your true nature? Your true nature is happiness. If your true nature is happiness, then there's no wanting. There's no desire to push for something else. There's no desire to do so that something can be different. So that in that meditation, that is what it is. It's acknowledged to oneself. I am comfortable being myself. And it's a big acknowledgement to make. Namaste, Dottie. Glad you can make it. So where does this desire come from? And, desire kind of gets the whip here. We make it out like desire is a bad thing, but as Bhagavan Krishna says, right in the Gita, no, I am in the form of desire. So desire is not necessarily something to be shunned. It's the binding desires that we're talking from. And so where do these binding desires come from? This is that little, this is our little circle. It comes from a sense of lack, right? And where does the lack come from? That sense of why do I think I'm lacking? Because I'm ignorant. I'm ignorant of what? I'm ignorant of the truth of myself. But wait, where did that ignorance come from? And this is where Swamini Ji says, okay, enough is enough. We don't need to keep going. Ignorance, anadi, okay? It just is. But the nice thing about ignorance is, unlike moksha, can ignorance come to an end?
Yes.
Ah, yes, okay. And how does ignorance come to an end? This is an easy question. How do we learn that 2 + 2 is 4? What happens? There's some sense of knowledge that takes place in the brain. Is it that I know that, or is it that I remember that? That's a question for you all to figure out, okay? There's another one it's not a koan, the Buddhist monks ones, but it's one to figure out. So it's knowledge. So that's our vichara. And keep tying it back to what it is we're doing here. So the next thing you can ask yourself is, have you ever actually done an action? Have you acted without having a desire? And here comes the joke, okay? This is the children's joke, and it's one that Janani remembers because it's only a few words long. Why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side, exactly. So, is there ever, I ask with this simple joke, is there ever an action that is done without having some sort of desire? This is the question. Did the chicken ever cross the road, and was there a chicken? Was there a chicken? Mothering. So I think you're saying, Sujata, that mothering is done without desire. I think that there's probably some people would disagree with that. Even if one is an accidental mother, becomes an accidental mother. Sorry, let me turn this email off. Even if there is an accidental mother, that mother can choose not to do mothering. And it's unfortunate, I don't remember where you are, Sujata, but it is unfortunate. One of the difficult things in American society is that we do see a fair amount of this, where a lot of children they are removed from their homes because the mothers do not have the desire to mother, or are not capable for various reasons. So I think mothering, we have to say that there's definitely there's an element of desire in there. We want our children to grow up happy. We want them to do better than us. We want to see them be comfortable. We want to see them, as Phyllis is saying here, happy. So I think that's the big thing. So acting without desire, very hard to think about. Why do you go to sleep?
Because you're sleepy.
Because you're sleepy. And one thinks that if I go to sleep, that sleepiness will get cured, so to speak, right? So, Katrin, that's an interesting one too. So if it's done in the name of Shraddha, is it a desire? Well, one has to think where one is at on this journey, If, for the jnani, is there an action? Yeah. So this is one. This is where This is where you can see that line of where we're going. And not where we're going, where the Gita takes you with this, and it all becomes a question about this action. And we're spending some time on this because this is so misunderstood. Actionlessness in action, and what is that? So, as a duty, and then one wants to fulfill one's duty. But for the jnani, what action at the end of the day? But let's not jump there. Let's not jump there too quickly. Okay. So if it's done in the name of Shraddha, if I have Shraddha that this is what's to be done. Let's say, for instance, that our teacher, our Puja Swamiji, would often, some idea he would have. This is a great one. He has built many schools for the children. And not even schools necessarily, it doesn't have to even be a school, but places where the children could stay, chautralayas in India. And this allowed the village children, this allows many, many village children, even to this day, to attend school. Because if they weren't able to go and stay at these chautralayas during the week, when school is, they would not be able to walk from their homes or otherwise, get any transportation to get to school. Especially true in the places in rural India where there are still a lot of wild animals that routinely would, it wouldn't be safe for the children. So we'll leave it at that. At Anakati, we would hear about some of these things. So Puja Swamiji would have the idea, and he would say, I really think we need to put a chautralaya here. And so someone would take that idea, they had Shraddha, total trust in Puja Swamiji, and then things would happen. Now, depending on who that person was, who Puja Swamiji had said, they would see, wow, it's Puja Swamiji's grace that is bringing all of this about, but there would still be an actor involved. Wow, Puja Swamiji's grace is flowing through me, and look, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. So we can see that whenever there is desire, and the desire on talking about this example with Puja Swamiji and the Chautralayas is, the desire is either to please Puja Swamiji or to do some good in the society. So whenever that desire is there, then there is going to be an action, okay? I shouldn't say there's going to be an action, but when that desire is there, the action is what fulfills it, okay? So now, again, there's so many thoughts are coming. Oh, let's jump right ahead and see what's coming down the road. But this is just something to remember. The desire, and it's not a bad thing. We all need them, because otherwise, would food go in? For some of us, probably not. For some of us, it may do, but some of us, it probably wouldn't go in. So who wants to take time to eat? There's so many other things, all this cooking, and then you cook, and then you have to clean, and then there's the dirty, not only is the dishes you cooked in, but there's the dishes you've eaten off of. And then guess what? You take the same dishes, the same saucepans, the same everything, and you do it all again. It's just amazing. It just keeps going, and all this time, 3-hour cooking, 5-minute eating, James is saying. So that's eating very fast. I would say that that's a small meal. I would say that 5 minutes to get a meal in, that must be a small meal. So the witness state helps bypass desires. The witness state, you're definitely looking, yes, you definitely can see, you can watch those desires, and it gives you more room to choose whether to act or not, right? So this is the way you can look at that, bringing in the witness state. So one of the questions I've written down just as a little note, just in case the ideas weren't coming. Why go to an office? So anyway, we can bypass that one. We'll just take the witness stance on that one. We'll witness it. We see, the thought comes, and then we can let go of the thought. Okay. So and we've talked about the importance. We wouldn't eat without these desires. what about taking care of the body? How many of us would perform social service by, taking a bath every day and brushing the teeth, combing the hair, doing all sorts of things like this? If there weren't some desire to, to participate, to be be living in community, and to not to be inoffensive to others around one, So all of these, these are some examples of why desire is good. And also the things that we see at this Vyavahara level, just the desire to feed more people, the desire to fight diseases, these are desires which are well intentioned. Sometimes what manifests may not be what people expect to manifest from it, but these are well-intentioned desires. So it's not that desire is inherently bad. What about the desire for moksha? There's where we really come up and we say, oh, okay, desire for moksha. Yes. So it's not that I want to really bypass my desire. It's not that I want to give up desire, but I want to learn to have some sort of say over those desires and what action comes from that. And these desires are so strong, and they're so strong because, like we talked about the other day with the child with the balloon, they've been there. We've had so many thwarted desires since childhood, and if we're not able to understand them, to take that, to have the opportunity to really stand back and see those desires for what they are, meaning if I'm not going to do the vichara and look into the fact that every desire is nothing but a desire for wholeness, to feel free from wanting, to be free from that sense of wanting. What's being free from that sense of wanting? Being free from that sense that I am somehow inadequate. If I am not going to do the vichara into that, those desires are going to keep coming, and one is going to run oneself ragged, literally ragged, trying to achieve happiness through all sorts of other means. And one more thing on this that we can look at with this desires is, who do we most enjoy being around? It's either the people who have the same desires as we do, and this is what most of the relationships in the West are built on, and which is really hilarious because those desires change over time, and so so do the relationships then change over time, and it's very rarely that those desires and those dislikes go hand in hand and grow in the same way in relationships. But the other people, of course, we like to be around are the jnanis, people like our Puja Swamiji, our Swaminiji. And why do we like to be around them? They're not expressing, oh, I want it to be this, I want it to be that way. Then there's no competition for taking away something that I might want. They don't have a whole bunch of desires that are driving their behavior. Yep, and they're always happy. And that happiness comes from not having these binding desires. So we have to remember there's binding desires and not just, use our mind as a whipping boy and say that all desires are not good. Too many computers sitting here, okay? So we now are coming to thinking about the I. And we have to start, we're going to move away. We're starting to move away from the first of these verses, okay? And so what Bhagavan Krishna has done here is has given given what it is that one is seeking for in this first verse that we've looked at, what it is that we need to understand about how we are currently living our lives, so that we can move into doing this vichara in a proper way. And so Bhagavan has told us that, the wise do not grieve for these things which are not real. And what is not real? All that we've talked about. The body, the pranas, the mind, all of this. So don't grieve. Don't grieve for this. Why are you grieving for this? There's nothing here to grieve for. So what is this I? And we're going to be talking about that in the next verse. And a little introduction to that. We have to talk about what is this I. And so the I is what we refer to as consciousness, right? And what does that mean? What does consciousness look like? So consciousness, if I say consciousness, there's another piece of the meditation, okay? So this is giving you all some, what's this called? A trailer, a meditation trailer. A meditation trailer, if there is such a thing. So meditation trailer part 2 is when we say, Swamini Ji may give a list of things, and it'll maybe, so you may say pear, apple, orange, consciousness, Krishna, book, table, chair, consciousness. And what one finds, you guys will all know this, what happens when you say consciousness? Everything else is an object, right? That consciousness is not, one of these is not like the others. That consciousness is not an object. So usually when we talk about saying, okay, so everything here is consciousness. So I have this I consciousness. And I'm saying, okay, I illumine everything that is here. Everything is lit up by me. And you say, so what does it really take to see something? I mean, when you're seeing something, it's the eyes that are seeing it, right? That's what we think of. That's the first place we go. Yeah, well, I can see. So I can see, for instance, Ramagiri sitting in front of me, okay? Can I see Ramagiri? That's the question. Or can I see your names on the computer? And then assume that behind that name, or behind, sitting looking at a computer much like this, is a body, mind, and some senses. Can I assume all of this? So those eyes, we say, oh yeah, well this is how we see. No problem, I can see like this. Then I say, okay, well what about the dream? And so did you get a special pair of eyes for the dreams? Is that where the dream is seen? Is through the eyes? No, of course it's not seen through the eyes. Come on, Janani, you know that. So we can't say that I, and seeing that I, is through the eyes. And we talked about this the other day, right? The eye of the eye, the ear of the ear, the nose of the nose. No, not the nose of the nose. That one we didn't talk about. So we can't say that it's through the eyes that we're seeing this. So what is this eye? It's self-illuminating, right? I know I'm there. Do you know you're there? Yes, I know I'm there. Swamini Ji always asked the question, and it was the standing joke in Eugene for many years that it would always take too long to answer. And Swamini Ji would say, she would shake her head and say, okay, we have to go back to the beginning here. Are you there or not? And then, do I need to carry on right now? So yes, I know I'm there. Even when it's dark, I know I'm there. Do I ever need to use the cell phone to call somebody up and ask, am I there? We don't say, can you just hold on a second? Let me just check and see where I'm at. No, this doesn't happen. So this consciousness, this I that I am, this self-illuminating consciousness, this is the I, right? Okay, all right, this is the I, but I'm still, that want to objectify it. Okay, so let's go a little bit further. Does consciousness have a locus? Is there a place where consciousness is? Well, yes, of course, it's between these two, this hand here and this hand here. That's interesting, it comes out back to front on the screen. So that's where consciousness is. It's right here, and then see it's over there, it's over there. Oh, okay, so no problem. That's where consciousness is. It's just in these few spaces. So let's do a little analogy here. So does space have a locus? No, hard to think of that, right? And so what do we say? We actually say that the Jagat, right, this whole manifest universe, we say that the Jagat is in space, right? So, okay, so Jagat's in space. But I don't have one here in my hand, but I have a pot of space here. It's a pot full of space. So the Jagat might be in space, but space is in this pot. Tell me, how does the space get out of the pot? If I tip the pot upside down, it's a make-believe pot, okay? If I tip the pot upside down, does the space come out and say, oh yes, I'm free, I'm free, I'm free? No, I think we can even say that the pot is in space. Even the space that is in the pot, so to speak, is actually allowing the pot to be in space. So is consciousness in space? Is consciousness in space? No. Space is in consciousness, right? And this is where we can go into all the jokes about, oh yes, there's this big space between here and here, and in that space, no, consciousness, no, okay, we won't do that. There's a big space between that two places where consciousness should be, okay? So consciousness is not an object, that's right. And how do we get to this place of understanding something that is not an object? And this is where Shabda of course, comes in. But working through these steps, we can come. So we say, are you conscious? Yes. Is space conscious? Good. No, okay. And so talking from this level here, and so let's go one further. So we know that space is in consciousness, right? Stars are in space. Correct? I think the stars are in space. So what is the distance between space and the star? No distance, okay. So consciousness, all pervasive like space, right? Space, we talk about being all pervasive at the relative level. So no distance between the space and star. What about between consciousness and the star? No distance, right? We had to think about that one. No distance at all. So what about the distance between one star and another star? Let's say planet Earth and the moon, for instance. I don't think, I'm not exactly 100% sure how many miles away. Huh?
Just about a quarter million.
About a quarter of a million, the moon?
40-some odd thousand.
Oh, okay. So Ramagiri knows about 40,000 miles away. 240,000 miles away is the moon. A long way away, okay? So We say 240,000 miles, okay? That's between planet Earth and the moon. What are we talking about right now? We're talking about two dependent realities, right? What about between consciousness and the moon? No distance. Okay, what about space and the moon? No distance. What about space and planet Earth? No distance. So just seeing this, this is one of those paradoxes, you know. It appears to the eyes. And so this is where we all get caught up in getting very attached to how the eyes report something being to us. But there is no distance between consciousness and any of these manifestations around us. And we're going to actually, when we say it, when we say around us, we're going to have to negate that one eventually that's saying all those manifestations around us. So, and here we go. Are you ready? There's only one consciousness. Oh. So, there's only one. But you're saying that you see me, right? So, the I that is you, and there's that I that says it's you, and there's an I that says it's me. So that makes how many consciousnesses? Because you're saying this consciousness, right? And it's here, it manifests here. So there's I in you, and there's I in me. And I'm saying, but I don't see you. Oh, wait a minute. This is getting more and more confusing. I'm not seeing you? What do you mean? Because all I'm seeing is a body, which is the object, right? And what we're talking about is the subject, which is the consciousness, which is the I. So while we might be able to objectify this body, and we might be able to objectify the mind, some people might even say, I can read your mind. Pujya Swamiji loved these people who used to say, I can read your mind, Pujya Swamiji. And he'd say, go right ahead, read my mind. But, you know, please, please, please do not let me read your mind. One mind is enough and no more minds are needed. So anyway, there's many people who say, I can read your mind. I can see your mind. I know what you're going to think. I know this, I know that. But again, all of that is objectifying. And we've already gone through all of this. We've already dismissed all of these means of knowledge that we objectify. I'm reading James's note. We wrongly say that because I cannot see the moon with my eyes. It is outside of my consciousness. Yes, we do wrongly say. I see what I'm reading the sentence correctly now, James. I'm following what you said. I cannot see the moon with my eyes. It's outside of my consciousness. So this consciousness then, so this I, this sense of I, this consciousness, why is it consciousness? It's self-illuminating. So that's self-illuminating, that thing that says I, whether it's manifest in one as though body, one as though cat, one as though cow, dog, monkey, doesn't matter. This thing that is self-aware, self-illuminating, this is what there is only one of. And we can't possibly say that there's more than one of this I because it's self-illuminating. If it's self-illuminating and I am saying I and you are saying I, are you going to say that your I is different from this I that's self-illuminating? No, there's only one self-illuminating I. And so that's the lead-in into our next verse that we're going to be, which gives the nature of the self. And it talks about what that self is. So we'll go ahead and chant it, and then we're going to pick up with it tomorrow, okay? It seems that these classes are going to be are going to end at around 2:20 each day, okay? For whatever reason that is, it just seems. It happened yesterday, and today it's looking like it's going to be that way again. So you'll get 10 minutes extra, okay? So I'm looking for it in the... it's very hard for me to read this transliteration, so I'm looking for it in here. Veda vinashinam nitjam, Veda vinashinam nitjam, ya enam ajam avyayam, ya enam ajam avyayam, katam sa purushapata, katam sa purushapata, kam gatayati kantikam, kam gatayati kantikam. Sorry, that's kam gatayati hantikam, kam gatayati hantikam. So we will pick that one up tomorrow. And meanwhile, if you're here, if you're somewhere where the sun is shining right now, enjoy the extra 10 minutes. And if you're somewhere where you need to go to sleep, then please go ahead and get 10 more minutes sleep, okay? Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurupyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Nice to see you all, and I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Nice to see you, Sophia. And Jessie, thank you. Everybody have a wonderful day.